Peace. Welcome back, Secret House Against, Tokyo-based hip-hop art and culture conversations. It's me and Jet today, and we are here to talk about... Oh, did I start that weird? This is normal, right?
Yeah. Normal.
Anyways, I should just introduce it. Welcome back to the Backwoodz album review channel, because it seems like all the shit we do is often Backwoodz, and we've got another Backwoodz, a phenomenal project from them and their artists from Premrock, the great Premrock. It is called Did You Enjoy Your Time Here? It's 16 songs, 44 minutes. It dropped yesterday, and we're recording today because Prem was kind enough to reach out and send us the album early. So we've had it for a few weeks now, like maybe 3 or 4 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah, and so we've got a lot of play on that. So this is not just us listening to the album once and then coming into to like lean on the algo and get a fucking review out. But we might do that in the future. Who cares? Who knows? Well, whatever. But Premrock is a Pennsylvania-born and raised MC who is currently, he's an MC poet artist, currently based in New York. He's had a long, very rich trajectory of a music career that's placed him with some of the greatest of this generation and some of the greatest of all time, in my opinion. He's right up there. We have reviewed his work a few times on the channel before. Collaboration albums, not a solo album. I don't think a solo has dropped since we started. Well, actually, he did the project with Willie Green last year, yes, which was a bit of an EP, but also a solo, like a solo project that was cooking for a while, and we kind of wanted to get to that, but we were busy. But we're really happy to discuss this one today. And I guess, I've been listening to Prem for like a decade. I want to say, how long have you been into Prem?
I feel like probably about as long as we've been doing the show. I've been aware of him for some time. But yeah, I guess maybe the Occam's Blazer was probably the first
one
time I was like, all right, I'm going to sit and listen to a full-length album and talk about it.
Okay, and if I recall correctly, I really enjoy that album. The musicality, all of the working pieces on it are phenomenal. What was the name of the band that they were with? Praq? Praq, P-R-A-Q.
It was July Scone
and Fresh Kills. And we just did a Fresh Kills joint with Henry Canyons, who's also, an associate and homie and comrade of Prem. But when we did that album, one of the things that I mentioned is Prem is such an incredible rapper, and I felt like on that album it wasn't necessarily the best showing of his skills. Not to, by my estimation.
I think
you know what I mean?
That album wasn't supposed to have Prem front and center. It was very much a band effort, right? Prem is the vocalist of the band,
right?
Occam's Blazer. So you kind of like leave space maybe for the instrumentals and for everything going on. It wasn't necessarily a showcase.
Yeah, you don't necessarily put it into like fifth gear and really start bombing because it's more about like the kind of sonic soundscape and qualities. And his rapping is so percussive that it really adds an interesting texture to it. But yeah, Fresh Kills, Prems, and Praq, I want to say. I forgot. But we did that, and then we also did the Shrapnel.
Yes.
Which was like my number 2 of the year last year.
We've done 2 Shrapnels.
Oh, that's right. We have done 2 Shrapnels. Okay, well, shoot, we're back at it, and this is the first one that's like, Prem front and center. And yeah, so to start, the album has a variety of collaborators on it. As for MCs, we've got the great Curly Castro, which is like his partner with Shrapnel. We've got the Great Logic, Nappy Nina, Pink Seafood, Suede God, AJ Suede, Woods Cavalier, and there's also a vocalist named Mary Esther Carter, who I'm not familiar with, but the rest of those guys, phenomenal, like huge fans,
icons.
Yeah. I mean, I've been a fan of Illogic for maybe 27 years now, or some shit like that. Long time.
It was the anniversary
of Celestial Clockwork. Last year, I think. Yeah. But amazing. And also the producers. It's got a murderer's row of producers, many of which he's worked with in the past. We've got beats by Small Pro, Elucid, Finds Double, Blockhead has 2, Jeff Markey has 2, Young Morpheus has 2, Seb Bash has 3, Child Actor has 2, and Controller 7 has 2. And recently, the Controller 7 collab was the last Shrapnel album. So this album's got a lot going on. It's a full-length project. And what do you think, Jet? I feel like I have so many thoughts about the album, and I've been talking about it so much, I don't really know where to start on it.
I think it's phenomenal. I think it's an early album of the year contender. I don't know if I can even say early at this point because it's like late March.
Yeah.
But we're a quarter of the way through
Seems
the year.
early.
But
Seems early.
I think it might be the best album of the year so far.
Yeah.
It is not like something that leaps out at you and is like aggressively great in the way that, say, like the Feek and Lungs was last year, where it's like
bombastic
big drums,
immediately,
bombastic immediately, like, yo, this guy's crazy, like type rapping.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, just the quality of the lyricism on there, the way all the features come through, and just like Prem's like subtlety and nuance and just skill with the pen. Like, his pen's always been phenomenal, but this is like a particular showcase of just how damn good he is with it. And in spite of the murderous row of producers on there, I think it's like incredibly cohesive and comes together really well. It doesn't have bangers in the way that you might expect,
or even compared to like even the Shrapnel,
compared to the Shrapnel or whatever. Yeah, exactly. Like it's not like all out b-boy assault type stuff, but like in a way it kind of reminds me of the Cavalier from last year.
That's a good pull.
It's like a real rewarding listen. It's real like sit down, take it in, try and see what he's trying to say from one track to another.
And it rewards your kind of it rewards your
and
like your academic intent. Like you can really pull a lot of things out. As an MC, Prem is so incredibly talented with the pen, and also his writing style is unique and intricate. And I kind of, one of the things that as I was listening to this album, I was thinking about how Prem reminds me of two of my all-time favorite MCs in a way. He reminds me of early Aesop Rock in the way that there's like this kind of deep philosophical and almost like existential intent behind a lot of the ideas and the turn of phrase that he uses, but also how Aesop Rock back then was a little bit of a riddle and you had to kind of try to figure it out. Sometimes, it was futile, but Prem is kind of confusing like that, especially with some kind of seemingly long run-on sentences. But he also reminds me of Doom, and how so many of his verses are like these assonance runs or these really like oddly timed angular type of flows where I'm not exactly sure how he's counting, and sometimes it's just it makes me feel like, oh well, I'm glad I'm not a rapper, because listening to this I would never feel like I could reach a level like Prem. And as his kind of his artistic journey has gone on, he's changed and evolved as an artist, and I feel kind of like this is not a magnum opus, so to speak, but kind of like a high watermark. I don't know if there's Prem, like I don't go back and listen to Load Bearing Crow's Feet and be like, boom.
The Ace and Doom
like
comparisons are also interesting, because I think that like Prem doesn't, like, he's not as outwardly quirky as like a Doom is,
right?
And he's probably not quite as like show-offy as Ace is. Like, I definitely,
or even vocally, Ace is very boom bap.
Ace is very boom bap. He's very loud.
loud.
Kind of a controversial voice even. I think opinion is quite divided on Ace. It took me a very long time to come to appreciate Aesop Rock's voice, but like Prem is just like low-key terrific at everything. Like, it's very much like one of those things where like it's very easy to just let it slip into the background and just be like, yo, this guy's ill, like he's getting off, and then you actually go in and you hone a little bit closer, you listen to it, and you're like, wait, what bar is he, what pocket is he in right now? He finds these really strange, like, these unusual pockets, and he settles into them, and then he switches flow up.
Right. I've said this a lot of times on the show, like, and it's just, it's just whatever, but I say sometimes there's MCs that rap like horn players and there's MCs that rap like drummers. Yeah. And the best kind of do both. When I listen to Prem, the way that he kind of, his pronunciation, his kind of flow, the way that he kind of puts together the rhyming words, it's very percussive to me.
Yes.
And the way that his voice is kind of like, his pronunciation is so sharp on things, it is very like and it's really interesting. But unlike
he also do like, he's like a jazz drummer in that.
Exactly.
He can swing.
Yeah.
He can put like a swing on it. Like, it's not like someone like Suede God, who's on this record, can do both, right? He can horn play a and normally I think he's a drummer, right? He's very on the bar, and like he finds his pocket and he settles in, you know, he slots in very neatly on the beats.
Right.
Whereas Prem is doing something a little bit different there, I think. You know, he's someone who will like drag behind the beat. He'll lag for a little bit and then he'll come back into it, and it's just he's got this like really wonderful, like, you know, 16th note swing type thing he'll do. It's like listening to Dilla drums or something.
Well, you know, I was talking to Mandisi, to Dark Cow, who's a drummer himself, and you know, the way he describes Prim's writing style is like angular. It's a little bit strange. It's kind of like he's playing between the chords. It's like it almost feels like an arrhythmia a little bit, you know, because you don't really know where it's at and it's stopping, but it's also so incredibly precise. And some of my favorite moments on this album are, you know, these tracks with these drums that are got swing to them and they're a little off, but the way that Prim is rapping on them is giving you a different sense of percussion, and following his voice is extremely rewarding just to the ear, before you even get to the point where you're trying to figure out what he's trying to get across. Because there's just like a, you know, he's obviously like a pretty well-read guy. He's extremely insightful on his things, and he does this thing where he'll take like a turn of phrase and then create something different, kind of, and that's kind of where I get that Doom aspect too. Because Doom had all of these kind of like regular, like these anecdotes and colloquialisms that he would twist, you know, one man's trash is another man's soap, those type of lines, and Prim is constantly full of those things, you know, peeling a glass onion. There's impossible to count. I mean, I guess you could, but just listening, I'm constantly being bombarded by those things. And you also see how he does like his contemporaries like feed into his style too. He'll do a kind of referential twist on like something that Castro does all the time. You know, you like dropping a reference, changing what it means, adding to it, like Smashing Pumpkins, the Billy with the Korg again, like you know, like those type of things. And the more I listen to it, it's just like great. I keep on uncovering things about it. There's little elements that are just all interesting. Even on the first track, the vocal sample is from a movie called Strawberry Mansion, which is like the government can like record and tax your dreams, and this guy is sent out. But Strawberry Mansion is also like this Pennsylvania like bad neighborhood, and he's like a Pennsylvania, you know what I mean? So it's like there's these little elements like on Crueler Walls, which is brilliant too, about glass walls and all this, you know, these themes. Like he says like On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous, which is the title of a prose book from one of the perhaps best American poets right now, Ocean Vuong, who, you know, I've read that, and that is absolutely brilliant. And he just kind of sprinkles it in there. But you get all of these points where he's absolutely just, it's much more dense than you would than even, you know, I would like to see what Joe would do, what Caltrops Press would do with this, because I keep on listening. I've listened to it, I don't know, 10, 15 times at this point. I had it on repeat like crazy, and I'm still like, what does it mean? What is this about? Like, what's going on here? It's just phenomenal. And
it's also phenomenal. Real cool how it kind of allows the features some space to kind of do their own thing relative to it. Like,
yeah,
you know, so for example, Crueler Walls, that's what we've got Nappy Nina on that one, right? And it's like Nina
this is it.
Comes in, swoops in at the end of the track, right? Like she it's a pretty long track,
right?
I remember it's like 3.5 minutes or something, but like Nina gets like the last 40 seconds or something like that, and she's kind of doing like braggadocio wordplay type shit on that. You know, like we're in the winners column. Like when it comes to winning, I'm Lance Armstrong, I'm the dopest type. Like, you know, it's like classic braggadocious type stuff, but at the same time, it's like, well, it works so well in contrast to introspective Morning Dew Nappy Nina. You know, that is still present on this, but at the same time, it's like it provides like this kind of pacing and a degree of like levity and kind of
but also what she's saying has like fidelity to some of the ideas that that Prim is getting off on too. And I think that a lot of the songs have like that type of fidelity. It's clear that all of these people understood that it was going to be this, kind of really, nobody phoned it in, nobody was just like, yeah, this is the homie, I'll put a verse on, because even the Pink Sifu verse is like, has fidelity with what they're saying. They're both on the same page. And the Woods joint, it's almost like they're saying the same things at times in different ways. And that type of kind of cohesion with the album is what really makes it a joy. Like, when I Illogic, as dope as he has been and always has been, it's really great that Prim tapped in and got Illogic, because he's also doing this kind of run-on philosophical twisting, a turn of phrase and adding like a new philosophical perspective on it. And I like to say that these guys are all like jazzmen, they have their instrument, they have their style, and when they come together it creates this like new spontaneous order. And with this album, and even with that Strawberry Mansion quote, the woman says that she considers herself like an atmosphere creator. And what Prim does from track to track on this, and with what everybody does on track to track with this album, is create these kind of atmospheres that even if you're not pulling like deeper meaning, and you're like me, where you're not a very good bar whisperer who's able to quickly catch the theme of some of these artists, but they give you a feeling, they put you in that atmosphere from the first minute of the album all the way to the very end. It's a ridiculous type of ride, and the production just it has like, I don't know, there's not like these really huge kind of like, now we're doing a b-boy type of track, now we're doing like a turn it up in the car type of track, even though they there's bass, it sounds good loud, but none of the songs are really like that. No. And it's a really incredible atmosphere. Let's go through some of the tracks and just kind of like talk about them as we go through them. What do you think?
Sure, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, I could wax I could wax Lyrical on all the reasons why I think it's dope, but it might be best to kind of like hear something, jar our memory about like what the track is about, and then get into it that way. So Angel's Share,
intro thesis statement type thing, takes, we have all of this sample.
Right.
I don't recognize I have not seen
Strawberry Mansion.
Strawberry Mansion.
It's a quirky kind of wonderful film. Yeah, it's a quirky kind of wonderful film. Watch the trailer and you'll be like, oh, okay, this looks like a movie that'd be fun to watch when super high.
Word.
Yeah. But you like this, the way that it opens, right? It's kind of regal. It's kind of like the grand opening, and then he also has the bar at the end where he's like the debutante bar, where he's like, come in like a debutante or whatever he says. Which I didn't write down a lot of lyrics for this. I'll tell a story about my lyric writing on this album earlier, transcribing rather. But it has that energy. It's like, this is the opening. Like here we go.
But
here I am.
I also appreciate that it's like, it's opulent but kind of offset. Like it's a little. Something's a bit off, right? It's not like a big, like, dramatic, opulent, like, yo, Premrock in the house, like.
Yeah, it's not dystopian, but it's also kind of just like, it's very kind of like David Lynchian, and kind of like something's a bit off about this Pleasantville, about this, and the album has a lot of those moments that kind of feel like Prim's a weird dude. Prim's an interesting guy. Prim's not like a sick individual, but like there's something kind of going on in his brain that is not the most typical thinking person. And
yes,
yeah.
Call you fam to get you familiar, but tucked in the fine print of the deal there's a line familiar. And feet to the fire, you gon' feel the temperature climb. The little piggy got a space heater for winter, plus the chinchilla. Stargazing at the Big Dipper, listening to Dilla. Ink on the tips, it's my paper.
Yeah, so fire. Void Lacquer, which this one is like, this is a child actor beat, right? Well, that first one was Controller 7, right?
Yeah.
Void Lacquer, a lot of times I'm able to hear a beat and be like, oh, this is child actor. Yes. What were we just listening? Oh, we were just listening to the EP for the previous industry shit, right?
Right, yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, this is definitely child actor,
beat, yeah.
right? You listen to the Shamar child actor, it's like child actor. But this one, I didn't recognize that it was child actor. But what he does on this beat is so crazy, and it has like this kind of like, it almost feels like you're going on like a journey. It feels like a caravan at midnight or something like dark
Travel,
like that, you know?
Dark forest type.
The way that it's kind of moving, and it's almost like. But
the title's also very evocative. What did you? I mean, I don't know if void lacquer is meant to be a specific reference.
Well, he's talking about like you can't put lacquer on the void, you know,
Right.
like so.
But it's also like, I don't know, just like, you know, lacquer is typically associated with black, right?
It's like a primer too.
Primer,
Yeah.
it's a darkness. So like, I kind of just saw it as like, you know, the sheen on the void to an extent, right? Of course,
Yeah.
you can't put lacquer on the void,
Yeah.
but at the same time,
You got it
it's-
backwards.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like
exactly.
the void puts, you know, like, and it's like no matter how you try to like protect it or change it or do whatever to it, it's still the void. And he just bombs like that antisocial social club, tear the club up, like, you know, too much piss and vinegar, not enough blush, you know, like
Right.
Soaking in the tub, permission to speak open, something's broken about the plug. Yeah, like, you know, it sure is transphobic, hiding in their own shit, the glass house culprit. He's bombing so wordy on this, and it's just, this is one of the, like, and also what Child Actor's doing with that beat, how like that the way that vocal sample sneaks in, and sometimes he like cuts it and truncates it, it adds to the kind of percussive element that is so kind of off kilter and just weird with the way that Prem bombs. And yeah, this is definitely one that's what's incredibly interesting. California Sober, this is a Blockhead beat, and I swear I think it was also Trey Does, shout out to Trey. I think it was Trey that was talking about like, yo, I feel like I heard part of this on like another Blockhead song.
This sample is pretty common. Like, this is like,
okay,
yeah.
Well, we don't sample snitch here, but yeah, figure you got to tell me afterwards, because it was like a brain, like an earworm that was fucking me up. It was irritating me.
It's a Japanese sample, so there's a good chance that you might have heard it here by osmosis. But it's shown up a few times. It's pretty popular sample.
And you hear how like the texture changed from the first three tracks. Like this one is like a little bit more
upbeat.
Yeah,
a little bit more. Yeah, even the sample is kind of, I mean, this part here is original, but it's kind of like a little shiny and beautiful in like a more traditionally like sparkly, twinkly type of way. You know, we have a bit more of that shine introduced compared to some of the darker and more off-putting, not off-putting, that's not the right word, but you know, the sinister, there's something not quite right here element to some of the sampling on this.
Yeah, see that? I'm just like, I feel like I've heard Ace on that or somebody on that before,
Quite
but
probably.
It's phenomenal, and you know, Blockhead is just consistently amazing. And you know, it's a weird thing, because a lot of, like, I used to be in the Aesop Rock subreddit to get my news, right? Like, so, you know, if a new song comes out or he posts like an Instagram video, since I'm not on there, I'll be like, oh, I got it, right? And every so often somebody be like, yo, I love Aesop Rock, I just got into him, who else would you recommend that I listen to? And they'd be like, oh man, you gotta listen to like MF
Sage
Doom.
Francis.
And it'd be like cats from like 20 years ago, instead of cats is like really putting it down now. And I'm always, you know, occasionally you get like a Homeboy Sandman or a Rob Sonic, but I'm like, where are the Aesop fans that are listening to Prem? Like, to me, they're kindred in the type of things that you listen to Aesop Rock for. You know, like the philosophy, the complex wordplay, the fucking app. Like, this is Blockhead. You know what I mean? Like,
sure. Yeah.
So this one, it's amazing. It's also not my favorite Blockhead beat on this one, but yeah, I mean, it's still fire. Still Wool, which I'm still kind of trying to pick up what exactly is going on with that. There's a lot of talk about like fabric and, you know, but you've got Pink Sifu on this who floats, and it's just like, I wasn't, after the last Pink Sifu joint that just came out,
Also
I wasn't
an album of the year
expecting
candidate.
I wasn't expecting them to get together, but this verse from Prem is what I'm talking about when I don't understand how he counts to his raps. Like, I don't understand how he writes, if it's on a piece of paper or if it's like, you know, he draws lines for his, like, I don't understand how he writes. And he has like this run-on assonant sentence with like inter-rhymes that still land on beats. It's nuts to me. Like,
Bungus obeying protocol. Election week, robocall. Don't nobody like no it all. Omen pre-rolled, hold it. Go ahead and hold it like fleeting moment. Soak it in an open jaw. Operandi modus like a motor car. Go far or go hard enough to avoid.
Bro,
Because
I don't
it'll
fucking
be like
know.
a polyrhythm where he'll
Yeah.
he'll start on like the 2 and he'll rap through the 2 onto the next bar, and then once in every 4 bars he'll like slide over one beat.
Yeah.
And then the assonance, the emphasis changes in the sentence, and now he's rapping on, he's putting the emphasis
Yeah.
on the 3 or whatever. It's yeah.
You got that assonance there, and then you also have like the alliteration type of connection with other words, and it's really incredible. But to me, my kind of best, maybe not best.
Also,
but,
I love Sifu on that track.
yeah.
Like,
What do you
Sifu
say about like
slides
fucking
on that? Like,
he does. He says like
Sifu's still
fucking
a
tripping
student
the
type,
Euro
yeah.
step, like, and it's like, what is the allusion to the, what is he talking about there? European, you know what I mean? Like, what's going on? And that's how I listen to rap. I don't listen to rap and be like, oh, this is literal. Like, I'm always listening to it like, what can I get out of this poem that applies to like my way of thinking? And so maybe I'm not the best person to bar whisper on this shit, because I'm always like, oh, that's an anti-colonialism line right there. But yeah, but the song Plunder, produced by the next song Plunder, which is produced by Child Actor, Prim's rapping is so percussive on this, and that's what I'm talking about. Like, the drums are just there, and you like, it's easy to pick up. Like, the drums are just steady and going, and there's a bit of a swing, but his voice is like a fucking weird staccato type of.
Walk around like let's call it a tie. Winning's overrated and get it how you live is overstated. Chalk it up to modern times. Vision quest, pip with the wet, dip cigarette.
Yeah, he gets off on it.
Calisthenics expressive like freaky zeeky vignettes and tongue-in-cheek uniquely adept. The doubts
it's kind of like bossa nova-ish in the way that you have this kind of staggered, percussive element to it. I can imagine like Guiba's or like this kind of element to it. The percussion is like reinforcing, but he's also like offset to the emphasis on that comes in, that little ta-ta, yeah.
I get that. Yeah. And the meaning behind the song, I wish I would have made more notes on this. I kind of was just like vibing, and I made all of my notes on this album last night, including transcribing lyrics if I could. But like, I think this is one of the more like easy songs to kind of pull the meaning out of.
Sure.
But yeah, the next joint is produced by Lucid, and the beat is so ill. That's all I wrote. Prim and Cav bomb. These are two of
the best rappers in the world right now.
Two of the best in the world right now. Cav's album last year was my favorite album of the year. I've been a long time champion of his work, and it's really good to see 3 albums last year from him. And I noticed a lot of people finally being like, yo, I didn't know Cav was that guy. And, together, them bombing on this crazy Lucid beat.
Don't mind if I do what I will. Free will, cheap thrill, careful what you line eyes, deceptive vibes, bottom line eyes.
Crazy, like Prim. I be getting mad, like, yo, I need lyrics, bro. Like, sometimes I just want to read along with it. I need somebody to transcribe this for me, because that's what I like, and Doubt Mountain, another one that's pretty easy to pick up on. Young Morpheus,
Self-care, second fiddle, James Worthy, self-doubt.
the sheer volume of, I won't spend too much time, like the sheer volume of like feels and thoughts on the album is overwhelming, that I was a little nervous coming to this conversation today, because I was like, I want to do it justice, but I'm also not like, oh, it's time to analyze and here goes our analysis. Oh, we will fucking do that like that. Like, I just want to emphasize that there's a lot of points on this album that I find fucking brilliant and amazing. Like this joint right here, Flight Risk. They just came out with the video.
Oh, what?
And the video beat is different.
Oh, okay.
It's like the same, but there's like little metal bird sounds or whatever, like some Ray Harryhausen stop motion.
Is it like diegetic? Like, is it part of the video, or are they just?
Well, there's a bird. There's like a bird in it. You know what I mean?
What?
But it's wildly different. And now, like, not wildly, but there's like a very prevalent bird sound going off. But it's like they're like fucking sick birds. It's like electronic birds or some shit. Like, you know, like yeah, like some stop motion shit. It's dope, but it is. When I saw the video, I was like, yo, I don't remember this. I don't remember this at all. So I had to go check our album that we got and then check it against the
streaming version.
The streaming version, because I was like, oh, maybe it's wrong, but no, it's just the music video is different. But yeah, check out the video. It's super raw. Potemkin
Village Voice.
Yeah. Even that, like the thoughts, like a Potemkin village is just like a facade of a village,
fake
right?
Village that's there to make a place look good.
Right. And it's like
simple man.
But then Village Voice is
Yeah.
your magazine, right?
Yeah.
Just breathe. You're gonna feel a gentle squeeze.
Like, yes, indeed, Godspeed, trying to ration what's inside of me, but I write what I see.
Still you gonna feel
Yeah.
a little burn. Welling in the mire, not buying what they're selling. Shelter from the storm.
And this is like really beautiful and kind of
Like, yeah, again, that opulence comes back, but I feel like this time it's not, because this is the point where the album starts to wind down, right? This is as we enter the final section of the record, and like you get some real beautiful moments on the second half of this album.
Even this shit though, this beat is crazy. Seb Bash fucking put his whole ass in this shit, and Suede God, man, he's so smooth, bro. Like, what do you say? Then I go ballistic like X versus Sever. I was like, yo, that movie's kind of trash, but I remember I was seeing that VHS tape when I was a kid and be like, that sounds like a dope movie.
Lucy Liu
and like Antonio Banderas, I think.
And they're like trying to kill each other, but maybe they're in love with each other, something like that.
Well, I think they find out like people are working against them or something like this. But I haven't seen him forever. But Sway God is just doing that, and then of course Castro, bombs per usual. Yeah, that's a dope. That's a dope posse cut.
Bombs like X versus Sever.
Yeah.
Bombed in the box office.
Oh, did it? Yeah, I don't know. I don't keep a track, but yeah.
Oh, fucking
yeah, we tried it. Yeah. Now this joint is also good. I'm not sure who Mary Esther Carter is, but this is Love is a Battlefield Simulation. It's otherworldly. I don't even know what I'm feeling on this, but I just kind of like feel like it's moving me somewhere. Yeah. There's no
Who produced this?
Jeff Markey.
This is Jeff Markey.
Jeff Markey, yeah.
Well,
Jeff Markey bombs
that
on this
tracks.
shit too.
That tracks because it has a similar atmosphere to like The Sketch.
Okay, yeah.
From a couple years ago, where it's like
he saved nothing for the swim back.
It's like beautiful and ambient, but again, there's a degree of like feels like sitting in a foggy forest, like. It's beautiful and tranquil, and at the same time, you're like in immediate danger. I don't know.
There's no I in team, but there's one in preservation.
Yeah. So I thought maybe I was like, well, this doesn't sound like a preservation beat, but
yeah, okay, bet. Crueler Walls is such a smart concept. Such a brilliant idea. Like glass would be torture.
Yes,
for some walls, and. Nappy Nina, consistently amazing. I mentioned that Ocean Vuong joint earlier, but Crueler Walls are made of glass so you can watch what you don't have, skate on past, break in case of emergency, shit like that. Like that's not the bar, but what he said, up Ship's Creek without an either or. Fucking brilliant. Like, this shit is crazy. He also says you appreciate the Capadonnas later in life, the ones that rap like rap might be saving their life, that attracts others to the flavor like how I'm supposed to pay for your slice plus save you a bite. Bro, that attracts others with the flavor like how I'm supposed to pay for your slice plus save you a bite. Can't help but belabor, that's just how I write. And that's just like one. This album is so full of these kind of like brilliant thoughts. Man, let's keep going because I'm fucking Logic is perfect here, man. This might be my favorite feature on the album because I just like to see, we got Dose and KDI on Backwoodz joints, this year and last year, and those are two legends that I've loved for 20 plus years. I've known Kiki for that long, and Dose is like one of my all-time favorites, but Logic is one of those cats that I think that there's a generation of fandom that's just not familiar with how dope he is.
Word.
But I was there on that, like, when he was bombing with like Christoph Kane on I was there for Diabolical Fun and Celestial Clockwork, and like it's just good to see a real legend like that on the dopest label in independent hip-hop right now, and perhaps taking the all-time run that they've got here. And obviously Prem is a fan. They probably are homies. They probably done shows together. They probably have a relationship beyond just what happened on the track, but it just shows that Prem recognizes that he would be a phenomenal addition to this because the style that he writes in. They're very kind of comparable in the way that they have these deep philosophical thoughts with run-on sentences, changing a turn of phrase and turning something into like incredible.
And that's also like the magic of, sorry, I'll let you get back on your thought, but like the magic of what Backwoodz are doing right now. This whole era, all of these like unsung heroes of the last 20 years have just been resurfacing and just like absolute, Sketch 185, Still Rift, Cavalier, Illogic. Like we're seeing all of these like incredible figures who,
John Robinson was on the Alaska album. It's like that's what, like, and I've been around long enough to like, I love to give flowers and shit, but there's so many flowers to give, and I'm not criticizing anybody for not knowing who these people are, but it's wonderful to see them come back. And they bombed. What did he say? He said, "Breadcrumb the maze for days and still lost his way." Breadcrumb the maze for days and still lost his way.
Trading for cash and prizes, they despise us for Pete's sake. The liars and cattle drivers will be the sole survivors till the removal of pacifiers in our dreamscapes.
What, bro? I mean, come on, man. Come on. Logic, do whatever you have to do to figure out what's going on with this guy, man. When Unforeseen Shadows came out, I was like 16 or 17 in hip hop, like 16, 17 years old. This must have been like 99, 2000, and I was like, yo, this is amazing. This is fucking amazing. This finds double beat, second shift of a closed down factory. Lucky I'm so low key, bro. Hey. Prim is crazy. This one I didn't really write any notes on that shit, but finds double kills on this, man.
It also serves just like a nice purpose as like its location in the album. The album is like immaculately sequenced, but I feel like the fact that you have this solo Prem joint, there's no feature on this. It's one of the simpler and more straightforward beats on here. 4/4, pretty consistent drum sample, etc. He just gets off on it. Going into the next track with the previous track in mind, like I think it really suits its purpose there, even if I'm not exactly sure what he's getting at on this specific track.
I got a lot more homework to do on this because a lot of the listens I was, I'm on the train, I'm just kind of like standing, I'm going to work, I'm coming home. Like last night I sat down and I really tried to delve into it a little bit more again, but also it's Saturday night, it's Friday night in Ikebukuro, everything's going on. I'm drinking a highball on the street with the headphones on, and like, sometimes me, when the highball hits, I was just like, this is crazy. I was like repeating songs like for 30 minutes, you know what I mean? And not even writing down the lyrics, just kind of thinking about it and thinking about how precise they were. And this next song, Receipts,
maybe the song of the year.
This is my favorite song of the year, bro. This song is just something like, as soon as the piano starts, and it's not just like a one measure loop, right? It's like you can hear where it like kind of like drops and
evolving. I assume maybe it's a sample. I don't know, but I just assumed this was an original.
Somebody playing it, yeah. But if you listen to the way that Prem is landing on it and changing his flow, he's keeping in mind what the kind of like the tempo, I don't know the correct musical term, but like the tempo of the piano is, and just what they're talking about is just it. I felt like I wanted to cry, like something was like very deep to me about this song, and it's so emotionally like that that atmosphere that he created with this, him and Woods, it's everything to me. I've listened to this song. I fell asleep to it on my headphones the other night. You know, like I hear it in my dreams. Like this one is just so special. And my ass, last night I'm outside. I'm transcribing the lyrics for the shit. I did it. I shared it with the Discord. I'm like, yeah, I did something good for society. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna create a Genius account, a Rap Genius account, and I'll share it on there because nobody put it on there. I checked. I create the account. I copy and paste. I go and I try to submit it. And they're like, it's already there. And I go back to it and somebody beat me to it by like 5 minutes.
5 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, but you know, and also if you like what we're talking about,
Billy
like
Woods sat at a computer somewhere. Just like,
he's secretly,
sucker.
what is he, Mr. Pancake in our Discord, just quietly watching, like, yeah, I got some for your ass, Mega.
Shouts out to Jackdaw Duke.
Yeah.
Tell you the truth. I'm good though. You don't need to keep.
And Woods is also like one of those drumming MCs. A lot of his beats are like, you know, a lot of space without drums, kind of like this, and his voice and the percussive elements of it and where he lands is very drum-like. And if you think of them in that term when they're rapping over this and what they're doing with their kind of vocal drumming on this, it's a really interesting dichotomy, and it's so powerful. There's also these elements where it seems as though they're kind of getting at the same thing on the song, but you know, Woods is just so ridiculously eloquent. So he's like a rose, bro. It's like so beautiful and eloquent, but it's got that thorn to it, you know, that just kind of like fucks you up a bit.
That is the Soul Glow. I just hit back. I don't know how you got the Soul Glow from here.
It'd be like that, but yeah, we'll get back
if you're like a Rick Beato theory type dude, like what time signature is that in? Because it sounds like 3/4, but like sometimes it's 4/4, and because it slows down and speeds up, I'm not actually sure. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, but then there's definitely a few extra measures where we get an extra bar out of it, and then the polyrhythm of the rapping I'm not sure about, but I'm not really a theory guy, so let me know in the comments what it is.
Yeah, Woods though, we turn the mirrors to the wall for the wake. Sometimes you don't want to look yourself in the face. Man, this is my favorite song of the year. Clearly, it's just something majestic about it. It's just so brilliant and beautiful, and that beat is crushed pedals stir the pot just enough for the lentils. Message at a rough tempo, but the message's touch gentle. It's not the mix, it's the hush instrumental. No need to adjust levels. Credit card just for incidentals. Trust it's a rental. Want the benefits plus the dental. Eye exam, see it as a plush. He says out the frying pan to the coiled metal. That's what I'm talking about. How he, like, you know, out the frying pan into the fire. But you know, the fucking if you don't have a gas stove, he'd be doing that all over the album. It's just brilliant. It's just and the way that there's kind of like that crescendo that comes in, like kind of like the bridge, you know, and what they're talking about. Eulogy went deeper than the speaker's intent, and the universe repeats itself. Bro, it's so beautiful. Like, I don't know. I wanted to send this to my mom and tell her it's mountaintop for me. You know, I've reached the other side. I am the perfect man, the Buddha of this world. Like, listen to this, Mom. But the last joint, did you enjoy your time here? This is kind of the most urgent song, the kind of most up tempo, kind of faster rapping Premrock on the album. And it's just fucking that beat. Seb Bash, like, I was listening to this as loud as I could. I got my equalizer out on my phone and I blasted it, and yeah, it's just amazing. I love the intensity and that rhetorical question.
The rhetorical question, the fact that it's the title of the album, so you think about it at the start, and then the title track is the final track. It's like, you know, there's the existential question of did you enjoy your time here? And then the very literal question when you finish the album where it's like Prem turns to the audience and says, so, you know, how was that? What'd you think?
Yeah. But the patronizing quarter behind the ear, like, he's just, it's not a magic, you know what I mean? Like, there's something just, yo, this album is incredible. I have enjoyed, I was talking to so many people about this, and we're all just impressed for a variety of different reasons, and every single one of them lands on the fact that Prem is rapping unlike anybody else in hip hop right now. He owns his style, his approach, and that to me, even if you don't care for it, it is just a interesting listen for a person who's marvels at what rappers do. This album is amazing, and we got Woods coming out this year too, bro. These Backwoodz motherfuckers, man. I don't even. We just might as well just only do Backwoodz albums from now, because every other month, there's like a Backwoodz joint that we have to spend an hour on, and we have to listen to 30 times to kind of digest, because they're so dense and they're so fantastic. Yo, favorite songs on the album? Receipts.
Receipts, obviously. Can you pull up the track list just so I have the titles?
Yeah.
On me. I'm gonna go with Steel Whirl.
Okay.
Potemkin Village Voice.
Okay.
Receipts.
I got Receipts. Did you enjoy your time here? And then every other song.
There you go.
You know what I mean? Like I keep on going back to them. It's like I'll listen to it and be like, oh man, that's a really good song. And then I'll come up on another song and be like, wait, I didn't notice that before. Like, wait, what's going on here? It's just rewarding, bro. The best art rewards your listenership.
Your attentiveness.
Yeah, rewards. And this one is just onions, bro, like layers and layers, and it feels extremely intentional. It feels extremely intentional. This is not an accidental work. This is fucking art. This is amazing.
Don't let him tell you that the album doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
You know, the album is one of the most beautiful things we have.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll be back. Secret House Against 50 minutes.
Yeah, well, we talked
really
for like
talking.
we chopped it up for like 10 minutes before.
Okay. That's fine. Yeah.
I'm
But
sure
yeah,
people enjoy the longer episodes. Like, hey, you should give us a comment. Should give us a like. You know.
yeah.
Or don't. We don't care, but like, you know, just do it.
Des wanted to be here for this one, and so did Scott Popular, but they ran into some busyness. But shout out to all the Patreon. Shout out to people that rock with us. Shout out to Prim. Shout out to Castro for giving our email to Prim. Shout out to Noname Book Club. All of the people we
Caltrops
rock with.
Press.
You know, Noname Book Club, Caltrops Press, Extraordinary Rap Podcast, Rap Music Plug, Focus Hip Hop, State of the Game, Call Out Culture. The Patreons and the Discord. I'm thinking we're gonna have to shut down the Discord free opening, because we got people in it. It's like 100 and some people in there now.
Like
close the
100
gates.
and 102, something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we won't have
If
to
you
close
rock with
the
us,
gates.
come say what's
Yeah.
up. Like, we want more people who found the Discord or found this channel, enjoy what we're doing here, and wanna come rock with us.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we don't want our Discord to just be Rap Music Plug Podcast Discord 2. So yeah, come through, say what's up. Link in the description. You know what's up.
Sit in the pews as they view the purview where your grip dissolve, like wait for the tongue to smoke, safe for the lung communion, weighing a ton, holy water, take a dip. We stationed by the cross and going through motions and stations of the cross. I guilt you staving off.